conference this week was a continuation of our studies of ascending into our lightness. And we have been studying the heart is our transition into our spiritual beings living in human bodies, and our throat. And now we are in our head, our third eye. And at first I talk about the physiology of our yoga practice and how important it is that throughout the day, rather than tilting our heads forward to read or work, that we're keeping our cervical spine in alignment with the rest of our spine, and how yoga really opens us up to lengthening out the neck, the cervical spine, and keeping the head in this neutral position, and how all of that is good for us physiologically and helps us with breaking old patterns in how we're living throughout our days when we do our yoga practice with our head in this neutral position, but also how it helps us get away from being that amazing shrinking human being to really opening ourselves up to living our highest potential, our best self, our most beautiful, brightest self when we're standing in this position of tall and wide and my muchiness. So this week we talk about in conference some important things about living and being gifted with this life, and that we don't get to do it forever. And we talk about death. So I hope you can join us for the full conference and sit with some of these topics and issues with us as we think about staying close to our last breath, so it can really touch and imprint how I show up for this moment I'm living right now, and how I want to utilize it as best I can, and setting intentions around that, and really using this semester study to sit with some of these important questions on, if we were to know, like we didn't have a long time to live, like what would our life be about? What would we say gave our life meaning? What would be most important to us? And when we answer those questions, then it really changes what we focus on today. And so I use the quote by Anita Moranjani, who is a lovely, beautiful woman who shares her personal story of having stage 4 cancer and having her heart stop, and then coming back from that, and the perspective that gave her and how she wanted to live her life. And she shared the story about the flashlight and being able to, thinking of her life like what was in front of her, she would shine her flashlight on. And I kind of took this story she shared and I sort of made it my own story to think about, what do I spend my energy on? What is my flashlight focused on throughout the day? And I think about sometimes if my flashlight is focused on like somebody that hurt me and I feel like they're a jerk and I just spend all my time being irritated, like what a waste of a precious day. If a day is a gift, what a waste of a day that is. And I think I have the ability to choose where I shine my flashlight. And so really looking at this week's study on like, where are you shining your flashlight in this moment today, with these 8 hours you have throughout the day at work, this precious time you have after work with your family and your children and your partner, and this precious time you have with people you've chosen to be your dear friends in this lifetime. Like, what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the negative? Are you gossiping? Are you talking about something that's happening in the news that you're all irritated about? Are you talking about the joys of life and sharing the joys of life? Like, this is our topic for this week. And I asked all of you to answer the question by Mary Oliver that she has at the end of her poem, The Summer Day. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild, precious life? And we look at one, we look at precious, and we look at the word wild, and break those down and answer that question. Because if you can sit down and spend a little time in self-reflection and really answer that question, it will change how you show up and live this gift of today.